Pubco Studios in Oklahoma City. You're watching the Press Row. I'm Jenny Carlson here with Barry Trammell. We're brought to you by Papa John's Pizza. You can go online right now and order your pizza at papajohns.com. Time for 5 and 5. 5 topics, about a minute each for 5 minutes. Let's get right to it. This has got a Texas flavor to it. Let's start with this question, Barry. Finish this sentence. Mack Brown is?
Done. Mack Brown is done. And frankly, the reason we haven't seen it yet is because so much political infighting down in Texas. They may get rid of their president on Thursday, much less the football coach. So they've got all kinds of fish to fry down in Austin. But Mack's done a very good job at Texas. But it's clear that it's reached the end of the line. It's clear that Texas is having trouble getting over the hump. 4 straight subpar seasons. And they're just waiting out the line. They're planning an exit strategy. We've seen the last of Mack Brown coaching the Longhorns.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Mack Brown is on his way out. Now, where he lands is an interesting question because there's been some talk that he may fill a role very similar to what Darrell Royal filled after he retired as Texas's football coach in sort of a fundraising capacity, administration, and frankly, if you've ever seen Mack Brown or been around Mack Brown and see him dealing with people, you know he does a fantastic job in dealing with groups of people, individuals. He never forgets faces. He never forgets names. He'd be great raising money for Texas. If he doesn't want to coach anymore and he wants to stay at Texas, he's going to raise a boatload of money for him. But he may want to coach again. So I think that's the most interesting thing that's left in Mack Brown's future is what's next for Mack. And that's really kind of up to him. All right, since we've got Mack Brown done, the next coach at Texas will be?
Not Nick Saban.
You're going with the field.
I think there's a chance Nick goes, but I think it's more likely he stays at Alabama. So I'm going to say the next coach at Texas will be James Franklin, the Vanderbilt coach. Goes under the radar, but a very good offensive mind. He was the coach in waiting at Maryland. The Terrapins lost their mind and pulled that status from him. So he goes to Vanderbilt. Twice in the last 3 years, Vanderbilt has won 9 games if the Commodores beat Houston in their bowl game. Never before has Vandy got to 9 wins. They'll have done it twice under James Franklin. I think he's going to be the next coach at Texas.
I don't think Nick Saban's going there, but I tell you what, he's going to have to think hard about it because they're going to throw a ton of money at him, and he's also going to look at that job and say, you know what, it's going to be a lot easier to make the 4-team playoff in college football coming through the Big 12 than it is in the SEC. I just believe that right now to be the case. The Big 12 is down. It's not nearly as strong as it was even a couple years ago. So he's got to think about that. Yes, he's 62 years old, but I think if you're really motivated to win, and I think Nick Saban is, I think he's got to at least consider that. But I think he'll stay at Alabama. I think that's where he's going to stay. My next coach, I've said David Shaw all along. I'll stick with David Shaw. But another name that I think could be really interesting in the success at a private school is Pat Fitzgerald, the Northwestern coach. I think he's got the kind of look, pedigree, success that Texas could be interested in. But you mentioned Vanderbilt. I think that's kind of the model that they're looking at. All right, back to 5 and 5. Number 3, favorite Mack memory. Let's get a little nostalgic for a second, Barry.
My favorite Mack memory goes all the way back to 1984.
He wasn't even the Texas coach.
He was the offensive coordinator for 1 year for Barry Switzer, 1984. I was at the Norman Transcript. One of my colleagues, Burl Spencer, still a great friend of mine. Burl went out and did a story on Mack Brown, chatted with him, and walked away. And Mack says, goodbye, Brandon, or whatever. So Mack, one of the all-time great people persons, didn't get Burl's name right, and called him the wrong name the rest of the year.
Well, Mack's pretty good one-on-one. I tell you, from a media standpoint, I mean, we don't cover him every day, so I'm sure that people that cover Mack all the time might tell you a different story, but from our perspective, he's always been really good to deal with. I think my favorite memories of Mack will, a couple of times I've actually gone to Austin to attend their media availability during a game week, probably OU games if memory serves right. And Mack always had a sheet of paper that he ran down when he started his press conference. And it was always stuff that I'm sort of looking at him like, nobody's actually writing this down. But it sort of, I think, edified him that he was able to say these things out loud. And it just always cracked me up because he always had that sheet of paper, put his glasses on, and started to still read like a professor. It was just, it was hilarious. All right, our fun question of the week, Barry. Hey, have you thawed out from Bedlam yet?
Well, I actually never get too frozen. Not all that many times in my life do I dress perfect, but I think I dressed perfect on Saturday. Just the right amount of clothes, plenty of layers on all appendages. So I didn't get too cold. Didn't get too cold. Even we shot some video out on the field after the game, and it wasn't awful. So I was in pretty good shape, and of course the game itself warmed you up in terms of keeping your heart rate going and the excitement there at the end. So, you know, the Cowboys heartbroken, the Sooners exhilarated, but I never did get too frozen.
I was proud to see you and Gina get back out there on the field for outdoor video. The Baylor
we
game.
went indoors.
You went indoors. Jason and I were outside in Manhattan. I just want to say that for the record.
Good sense goes a long way in life.
I have thought out, by the way, from Bedlam, but I tell you what, kudos to all the fans who were there. If you were among the tens of thousands who were there, whether Sooner or Cowboy, kudos to you because, yes, we were inside most of the day, but I can tell you from the time that I was outside, you braved the elements. It was impressive to see the amount of people that were there, that stuck it out. It was really cold. Let's just be honest.
It was cold.
It was freezing. All right, lastly, Barry. Hey, what's with all the talking from KD? KD's talking to every fan on the road, it seems like.
He is getting a little consumed with the environments. He you know, gets into it with the guy in Atlanta Tuesday night, and last week the guy in Portland sitting behind the scorer's table. And then he talks at press row on Sunday night, hollers at our man Darnell. So Durant is getting a little on the talky side, and if I was running the Thunder, I would call him in and I would say, yeah, Kevin, let me tell you this. Whatever you're doing, keep it up because you're playing fantastic. So if you want to talk, you know, if you want to, during a timeout, go square dance with the old lady sitting courtside. We don't care what you do. Just keep playing the way you're playing.
Yeah, it's pretty phenomenal right now, the way he's playing. Yeah, and you know what? Frankly, none of it is, I haven't sort of seen it harm anybody. He told the guy in Portland to shut up when the guy told him to go back to Texas, which again, I'm not sure why Texas, but, you know, told the guy to shut up. Doesn't seem that harmful. He did yell at Darnell, but I mean, he didn't cuss at him or anything. He just said right about that after Darnell had written about Paul George, and so Darnell did, I mean, and should have. KD's playing fantastically. I don't think we're going back to the KD is not nice days of last year. We're not getting the technicals. He's not sort of overwrought with emotion on the court, but he's having some fun with fans. If you're sitting courtside or anywhere close for these games coming up, get ready because KD may be talking to you. Be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.